Did they change this thing here?
No, I think it's a user issue.
Yay. No. User error. No, there's no user error. It's working. We're
Uh,
live.
You are a user error.
Your face is a user error.
Oh, it burns me. On fire. It hurts. Oh my god. Hey man.
What's up, Rob? How you doing? It feels like it's been like exactly a week, maybe.
Well, more than that, 2 weeks. Yeah. Big thanks to your brother Chris for stepping in last week. We found out kind of like last minute that my son had hockey tryouts. So yeah, so I wasn't able. That's why I was in the rink. I was watching you guys and listening to you guys more while I was in the rink, and I was listening to you destroy the last vestiges of whatever this news segment is.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be us. We scorched the earth last show, so no one's showing up today. But we'll see.
I was gonna say it's like I was like, there's like nobody on here. So
yeah. So all right, so you're gonna be watching this on the replay, folks. So it's me and Rob hanging out again. Rob was busy last week. My brother substituted in. So we're just gonna chill, and maybe hopefully we'll have some other people join us later. We'll talk about some of the upcoming movies, but we're gonna get hype about these new movies coming out, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are tuning into the live show, we are live every Monday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Twitch, and the Facebook right now. So you can check us out live, participate in the conversation, get your input, make fun of us, or do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and I, for those who are listening after the fact, people who download the podcast and listen afterwards, we appreciate the support. Give us your ratings on whether it's iTunes or Apple Podcasts, rather, or Amazon Music or Spotify. And John and I are going to have to take a conversation offline. It's just that we don't know if we're going to continue for the next couple of months on Mondays or not, because my kids have activities, and I'm finding out my son starts soccer next week, I believe, after the long weekend. So we might have to change it to another day or whatever.
Well, we've enjoyed this luxury of kind of like the semi-pandemic. We rolled the pandemic. Nobody had nothing else to do.
Right.
We were able to do this. Everyone was able to hang out with us. It was really cool. Some great memories. But now we're rolling into full-blown. I think this is the full-blown summer pandemic is done. So I think they declared it. So now we're in full, all your kids' activities back on the table. Everyone else's extracurricular activities back on the table. Maybe you want to go outside. I just came in from inside and my daughter was like, "Oh, can I go ride my bike?" I'm like, "Oh, it actually is pretty nice out right now, right?"
Yeah.
So it's not bad. So we'll see how it goes in the summer. We might have some substitutions, or we might take a break, or we might
shift.
We might move to another night or day or morning. We'll try. But yeah, for sure. So I see. What's up, Eric? I see you in the chat there, and I see a couple other people hiding in there.
So the moral of the story is keep your eyes on all of our social media accounts on Heroes World, on Instagram, Facebook. We will have an update as to what is happening with the date of the show. I think, John, and maybe I'm speaking out of school, I'm thinking it will probably only be temporary for the summer months, and maybe in the fall we'll go back. The reality is that, your kids have got activities in the evenings and summertime. My kids do. This was originally 8:00 and we had to move it to 8:15 because of my daughter's dance schedule. So, it's just the way it is. Maybe it goes to Thursdays because we don't get to hook up with the Heroes World podcast as often anymore with everybody's schedules. So
we might combine forces, and we're always up for suggestions. And there's also some other news that I'll cover a little later on about the shop that might cause me to be a little bit busy as well too.
So definitely keep your eyes on socials.
So let's open up with how was your weekend. I see Eric already got in the comments here. He's talking about Guardians. We spoke briefly about it last week. My brother didn't see it, so there wasn't much I could say. I did say I was extremely pleased with the final product. I'm really happy to get this 3-pack of movies, all directed by James Gunn, following all a similar through line. If you see like what he wrote about it sounds like this was his original intention on how to end the series. Nothing thrown together last minute or whatever. But we didn't check in with Rob. Rob, I think you saw Guardians 3 along with me the opening weekend. What are your general thoughts? I think we're going to cover it in a separate podcast later, but give us a teaser.
It's hard because I'm happy with it. I thought it was a really good conclusion, but then I go back to how crazy the movie was. And I feel that this one tonally is different. And I'm not disheartened by it. It just feels a bit different, and there are some elements of the movie that I wish I got more of, and there's some elements of the movie that I wish I got a little bit less of. So overall, I'm happy. I think as a trilogy, it's probably the best trilogy of movies in the MCU.
Yeah, for sure. Like what beats it? Well, I think Infinity War Endgame is the only thing close, but that's a 2-pack.
Yes, right? You've had 4 Avengers movies. You've had how many Captain Americas? You had 3, right? You've had 3.
Original, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. Yep, that are all theme wise all over the place.
Yeah, they are all over the place. And then you've got the new one with Anthony Mackie coming out, right?
Yeah. Thor. Ant-Man. I guess you could say Ant-Man's a trilogy. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we could say that. Oh, my dog just came in. We've had 4 Thor movies. They should have ended at 3. But I think even if you chop off the 4th movies of some of those movies, if you just look at the 3 movies, I think this is probably the best one for sure, the best of the trilogy. So overall, I'm happy with it. I'm looking forward to us diving into discussing it. But would you go back to the theater to see this, or would you wait?
Give me a second. My mom's calling. I don't know if this is something serious. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, see you later, John. It's the Rob Show. Okay, so I guess the question would be then to those who are watching right now or listening: would you go back to the theater and watch it, or have you? Do you feel satisfied? Did you have a decent meal and you're cool to wait until it comes out on streaming or video on demand? Let us know what your thoughts are on Guardians 3. Again, as John said, we will cover it with Stu. We'll like Voltron. We'll synchronize our schedules. We'll link up and we'll be able to discuss and give you guys our reviews on Guardians 3. I actually haven't spoken to Stu to find out what his thoughts are on the matter. So we're going to wait to find out what he's thinking. And then generally what we like to do here is for the Tonight Show, we like to talk about what did you guys get up to this weekend? So you can let us know. John and I will talk about things that we've done this weekend and things that we've watched. We're going to talk about what's new in the shop. John's got some pretty big news. And he may have some stuff as to what's being sold in store, but some big news with respect to Heroes World proper. I've got some rundown. Some huge news came out over the weekend, so we'll talk about that and some of the other ones that came out this past week. And then we're going to talk about the summer movies of 2023. And just so you know, we're only doing movies that are in theaters, not that are going to be hitting streaming. So if you're sitting there and you're all excited for Extraction 2, we're not talking streaming summer 2023 movies. We're strictly talking about movies that are only in theaters. So that's our layout and our rundown for the show for tonight. But John, if you're good, I think we should move on to what'd you do this weekend, man?
Yeah. Sorry, Rob.
Don't worry. All good.
Yeah. It's okay. Nothing super serious, but you just sometimes when your mom calls a couple times, you got to answer that. So
if you have to,
yeah.
I like to say, new number, who dis?
New phone, who dis?
Yeah.
So this weekend, Rob, I don't think there was anything in the theater. I didn't go to the theater for anything this weekend.
Yeah.
That I remember. Wow, has it been that long of a week? I've been watching Snowfall. I think I mentioned to you guys before. Snowfall, it's a fun show on your Disney Stars extension thing. It's very similar. They call it like a new Wire, kind of like similar to it. But I've just been watching that whenever I get a free moment. And then trying to keep up on the trailers. I know you've been sending a lot of trailers and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit in a Fast and the Furious rewatch, Rob. You think you're going to be able to fit that in?
Not only do I not want to, but I think if there was any movie I would if you're not familiar with Fast and the Furious movies, I don't know who wouldn't be at this point, but if you're not, or if you're just not a big fan, but you're like, it's okay. If you have any inclination that you might go see this new one, I would probably suggest watching Fast 5. Because it looks like from the trailers that Fast 10 kind of spurs out of the events of Fast 5. So that would probably be my suggestion to you, if only to see how they synchronize certain things that we've seen in the trailers to what actually they filmed.
It seems like, Fast 5 and up is where you want to go for the continuity for a lot of these new movies. And it looks like a lot of stuff from the previous movies. But I don't know. Rob, hopefully you got, you know what, Rob? I got a book. I got an audio book. It's about time management and kind of getting time to do things. It's called Come Up for Air.
Okay.
How much of the book do you think I got to so far?
It's an audio book.
Yeah.
You've probably listened to the forward, and that's it.
I listened to the teaser trailer and thought it was a cool idea. Picked up the book because we all could use some extra time. It's about managing projects and kind of doing that stuff. And I've had zero time to get to this book. So I just thought that was ironic.
So things are going well for you.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll get back to that. I'll be able to report back. But Rob, hopefully you got up to some more exciting stuff.
Oh man, so I'm in the middle of we just had our first day of demolition in our house. We're redoing the main floor. And so all weekend, John, we spent moving furniture and packing things up and moving it all throughout the house. I have a couch now in my in the office, which is
awesome.
exactly which you actually might be able to see my dog moving around in the corner there. She's currently sleeping on the couch. But yeah, it's nice. Now I can actually sit and read. But yeah, but in terms of things that I've watched, John, so I watched Air, which just dropped on Amazon Prime last weekend, I believe, or last week, I think it was Friday. So I've watched that. I've quite enjoyed it. Succession is winding up its fourth season. Last night's episode 8 was just phenomenal. Like, I'm loving this show.
Yeah.
So
Is it living up to the hype? Normally you binge this type of stuff, right? But spoilers are so crazy that you're like, I gotta watch this now, right?
It's kind of like the Game of Thrones back in its day in terms of like appointment viewing. Like, you couldn't avoid conversations or any tweets, anything. No matter what you did, you would see or hear something about the show. So you have to watch it. You can't binge it unless you live like in a bunker and you have no social media. Then what are you doing listening to us? Because that just goes ahead and flies in the face of things. So and I've watched a couple other things, John, and God, I was trying to actually think of what it is I've watched in terms of movies. I've watched a lot of old wrestling programs. So I'd say, oh, you know what? Hunters on Amazon Prime season 2. I gotta tell you, I tapped out after like the 3rd episode. I found myself exceptionally bored. So I was like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I removed it from my what's next list. I was like, get away, stop looking at my stuff. So yeah, that's about it. I feel like I watched a couple other things, but it doesn't really matter. So Eric says no spoilers on Air. I want to see if he gets a shoe deal.
Yeah.
Will he?
If you guys don't know what Air is, it's not about that Jordan Sparks song that was a massive hit back in the day. It's about the Air Jordan
it's about Air Supply.
Yeah, no, it's not about being all out of love. But it's about the original deal that happens to get the Air Jordans going and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, I guess, with Nike. And it features an all-star cast of people. So it's pretty crazy. And then went straight to streaming. No, it went to theaters for a second, didn't it, Rob?
It did. It was in theaters for about a month. It did fairly well.
Okay, so a little teaser, because I think we're going to maybe watch Air at some point. Are you disappointed you didn't go see it in the theaters? Are you fine with watching it on streaming?
I'm good with watching on streaming. However, like, I like these type of movies, so I actually would have gone to the theater to see it, to be honest with you. Yeah. But after watching this really makes me want to go to the theater to watch the Blackberry movie. Like, I'm hyped to see the Blackberry movie, but now after watching this, I'm like, oh, I really want to go see it in theater. So I'm going to see if I can make time.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. Steve said he rewatched a movie called Stranger Than Fiction a couple nights ago. I don't remember that one. Stranger Than Fiction. Is that where a book comes to life or something?
No.
I feel like that might have been it. No.
Remember
that movie Strange Days?
Yeah.
That was kind of.
Remember Dazed and Confused?
Dazed and Confused. I don't remember a lick of it, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's been so long. I think we watched it in my basement with a bunch of my buddies, and you know how you kind of have a whole bunch of stuff going on. You're playing games, and you got a movie going on and stuff like that. So
okay.
I probably have not sat down and watched it. So if you guys think Dazed and Confused still stands up in today's standards, which I think it is, I think it's probably a classic, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, the last thing I want to say is I didn't get to mention it, obviously, because I wasn't here last week. Perry Mason, season 2, super awesome, loved it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. See, it's the Will Ferrell movie about. Yeah. All right, Steve, let us know if that rewatch was worth it. We didn't mention that. But yeah, thanks everybody. If you guys did anything else, I don't know if any of you guys got to play Zelda.
No.
My buddy Pat did go to that launch, that midnight launch. I don't know if you guys saw the news articles.
Crazy.
Of like hundreds of people going out and lining up for Zelda first thing in the middle of the night. And I think I don't think he minds me sharing this, but he got there at like 11 or 12, got out of there at like 3 a.m. I don't know if he thought it was worth it, but he did play the game all night. So we'll, we'll see how that goes. If you guys are into Zelda, check in with that. But all right, Rob. So if you guys got anything else up this weekend, or if we remember anything, maybe it'll come back up again. But let's keep things rolling. Again, we are going to be talking about the summer blockbuster movies. But first, we're going to open up with a couple things going on at the shop. I am going to make a quick announcement. If you guys haven't heard or follow us on our social media, Heroes World is moving.
What?
So we are moving in June. If this is news to you, yeah, that'd be sick, wouldn't it? Yeah. It'd be a hell of a commute for me. I'm not going to say too much because a lot of the stuff is available on social media, and we might kind of do a thing about it, or when we get into the new place, we might talk about it. But folks, I do know it is kind of sudden. It's been in the works for a while. A lot of things had to fall in place, so we weren't able to kind of really give people heads up in advance. But we're not going to be far. We're actually going to be just located up the street, less than 10 minutes from our current location on Leslie and Highway 7, basically. And I'll post the address and all that kind of stuff on our socials. I don't want to dwell on it too long. And I did want to mention that at the end of May, you'll be able to find Heroes World at the Star Wars Collectors Expo on May 28th in Mississauga. It's cool. A really fun toy show. It's not only just Star Wars stuff. It's got a mix of stuff. So vintage action figures, new action figures. And it is going to share the space with a video game show as well. So they'll have one room that's all the toys and all the other fun stuff. And then they have another portion of the hotel, which is going to be all the video game stuff. So if you're looking for some cool vintage things, do come out and check out the show. It's a lot of fun. It runs from basically 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. on a Sunday. So May 28th, you'll be able to find Heroes World there. And then more news about the whole move and all that kind of stuff. It's coming up fast, so it will be moved before you know it. Now we'll be able to talk about it a little more.
So hang on a second. You've glossed over this like a donut from coffee time. Yeah. What? I don't even know if they're still around.
So they are. You can still find a coffee time.
Maybe
so not.
You guys are moving. Do you have a date of when a grand reopening is happening?
Yeah, the grand reopening is going to be sometime in July. We're going to give ourselves the month of June. We will be open. I don't know exactly when, so that's why I don't have too many details yet. There's a lot of things that have to fall into place.
Okay.
A lot of things getting hectic, but we do plan to be open throughout June, and then we'll have like a big hoopla in July.
Okay,
so it is kind of sad. We've been at our current spot for over 15 years. Open totally around 20 years. So it's going to be a change of scenery for us, but there's many reasons behind it. But hopefully y'all follow us.
Yeah. And now on your socials, you guys are talking about potential. Are you guys doing anything at the store right now?
Yeah. So we have a sale going on right now, so you can score some wicked deals. We got a lot of stuff on deep discounts just to kind of save us the trouble of moving things.
Sure.
So come on by. We're doing an escalating sale on regularly priced items, and we have a whole bunch of stuff marked down. So just drop by anytime within store hours. If you come after or before, you might have to wait around for a while. You know what I mean?
Okay. And so for those who are listening now, there's nothing on the website though about the deals. So they really should be jumping in.
So the in-store, our online website is kind of a semi different entity. But yeah, hit us up. You can message us, but the deals are in store. So
sure.
So
yeah. Okay, perfect. So for those who know, you should definitely check out the store and hit it up. Currently, it's up at Warden Highway 7, and then John and Andre will unveil the date.
We'll be moving just a little bit further into the Richmond Hill area. So I'm sorry, Markham, it's been a blast, but we are kind of moving a little bit further out. So Leslie and Highway 7 area.
That's fine, Matt. But hey, big congratulations to you and Andre, and you guys should be happy.
It's been in the works for a while. Obviously we would love to stay where we were at, but things got to change, and there's a bunch of kind of new potential and opportunities to come, folks.
Perfect.
So stay tuned for that. But I didn't want to dwell on it too long, so let me kick it to Rob for some news, and then we're going to talk about our summer movie.
All right, cool. So thanks everybody for joining. And again, as John said, if you are listening after the fact, we are live tonight, 8:15. And stay tuned to our socials because we're going to have some news as to when this show might be moving a little bit or having substitute hosts or whatever for the next few weeks with the move happening with Heroes World and with kids activities. So we'll let you know. But John and I aren't going anywhere. We're not. This is not like Sunny and Cher. We're not going splitting apart.
I got you, babe.
I love you, babe. We're bound. Okay. So we got some news here, John, and I'm pretty excited to dive into it, including some casting rumors regarding a certain Kryptonian. But first, let's talk Justified. Now, if you are a regular listener to this show or the Main Heroes World podcast, you know that Stu, John, and I are big fans of this series, Justified, and we've been talking about the new series that was announced last year, Justified City Primeval. Now we have a date for this show to drop, which is July 18th. They released a pretty cool poster. John does not have the poster.
You sent me a file that I could not copy.
Perfect. Okay.
So it's July 18th. Yeah, I was trying to find that image, and then I was running out of time, and I was like,
no worries.
Would Rob send me this file?
Now, it airs in the U.S. on the FX network. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to air on FX in Canada, but because FX is kind of owned by Disney, it's a possibility that we'll get it on Disney Plus. We might not get it day and date. It might be a couple weeks later. Regardless, by this summer in Canada, we will have Justified City Primeval. So I'm hyped. Suffice to say, I'm assuming that Stu is hyped. John, how hyped are you on City Primeval?
I am super hyped. Like, look at this picture. Raylan Gibbons back. Never leaving Harlan. What's the song? You'll never leave Harlan alive or whatever. Great track that they always open and close the show to sometimes. But yeah, Justified, I think it used to be S.H.I.E.L.D. used to be my top show, but I think Justified, just the consistency throughout the first all the way to the end, the interesting characters, the like Raylan Gibbons, Timothy Oliphant's portrayal, and then the addition of Shane Vendrell himself, Boyd Crowder, Walter Goggins, was just too good of a combo. So I think it has become my all-time favorite show.
Wow.
To see it come back, I'm a little bit worried, but I also feel that show was such high quality that they would not come back and do something mediocre.
Right.
So I think we are in for a treat. Yeah. So
yeah,
Rob,
I'm really excited. And you know what? And it's for a while the only place you could watch it up here streaming wise was on Amazon Prime. It's like $100 to buy the season on digital. But it's now on Disney Plus. It dropped about a month ago on Disney Plus. So that's pretty cool. So if you haven't had an opportunity to check out Justified, I would highly recommend. You've got the time now. Go ahead, drop it on Disney Plus and watch it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how easily consumable it is. And I think each season is what, John? 12, 13 episodes, if that. So I think people will really enjoy it. So definitely get on that. Now hang on. Here we are. I'm going to have to go back up. Here we are. Now for years, John, we've been hearing rumors about a bio-exorcist from the netherworld making a comeback following his 1988 movie. And if you guys are as confused as John apparently is, I'm talking about Beetlejuice. That's right. It's been quite...
You got to say the name 3 times.
I don't want to call him. It's been quite some time since rumors of a sequel have been discussed, but now it looks like the movie is finally happening. Michael Keaton returning to the role, and joining him will be original stars Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, and then new cast members announced this past week include Monica Bellucci, who's going to be playing Beetlejuice's wife. Say what? Willem Dafoe and Wednesday Addams herself, Jenna Ortega, as Winona Ryder's daughter. And our production began last week with director Tim Burton back at the helm, and a release date of September 6, 2024. So, John, I don't know how big of a fan you were or weren't of the first movie, whether you saw it when it was released or sometime later. But is this something you're kind of intrigued and hyped about, excited about, or do you like?
I like the property. I think I maybe like the animated TV show when I was growing up better than the actual movie. And I did fire that movie. It's on. I feel like it's on Disney Stars or Amazon or something. Semi recently. It's cool. It's interesting. It's not really my genre of things, so I don't desire to see it. But Tim Burton back at the helm. We're all about the legacy sequels now. Michael Keaton is going to be blazing hot after his movie comes out, co-starring Ezra Miller, right? So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. What was the last thing Tim Burton did though? Like, is it the animated stuff? Like,
no, I think the last thing it wasn't Dumbo, but it was one of those Disney movies. I think it was one of those, and maybe it was Dumbo. I don't know. I think there was something else, another Disney movie he had done following Dumbo. Yeah, but it's been a while. It's been a while since he's done something kind of quirky, right? I think
like Edward Scissorhands. Like, is Edward Scissorhands next on the docket if Johnny Depp is back? You know what I mean? Edward Scissorhands again? I don't know.
Well, it's going to be very weird to see how this movie plays out because I watched it a lot as a kid. I mean, 1988, so I was 12. So, like, that was kind of in my wheelhouse, right? Like 12, 13, 14. I watched this thing a lot. And I really...
Shrunken head guy and everything.
Oh, yeah. And, Alec Baldwin, right? I mean, watching Alec Baldwin in around the time of The Hunt for Red October, right? So, like, and Gina Davis, like, and seeing, like, the big, long beaks, right? Like, they had their heads. Like, it's a pretty trippy movie. I don't know how, and that was like my first introduction to calypso music, right? With
Daylight Come.
Yeah. So Harry Belafonte, who just passed away a couple weeks ago. So I guess I'm not excited for this new movie, but I'm intrigued, and I guess we'll wait to see what happens as it gets closer. I have zero interest in going to a theater right now to see it, but
yeah. Well, it wasn't on our wish list, right? We never sat around the campfire going, Rob, you know what I really wish came back? Beetlejuice. I think it kind of almost got onto one of our Halloween rewatch lists. Which Rob, Halloween's coming, like October's coming up, and we gotta get on that. We haven't worked on this list yet, so we're gonna get correct. But yeah, Eric says Monica Bellucci. Yeah, he's gotta watch it now. Yeah, for sure. The sultry sounds of Monica in there.
Is her best movie Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis?
No, it's definitely not. But
I think it might be.
You think so? I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll have to put that on the back burner. And then Steve does say Tim Burton is executive producer on Wednesday.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
which makes sense. That show was fire. Apparently,
I still haven't seen it yet.
I only watched. I think I watched one episode.
It seemed pretty good. Fire, right?
Yeah, that first episode. But online, generally, it is very well received. Except for Jenna Ortega got herself in a little bit of hot water. I don't think it's unrecoverable. But I'll let Joey Cipriani, she's kind of like, oh, I punch up a lot of these lines myself.
Oh, right. So, yeah.
We'll see how that goes for her.
Well, but you know what? She was a kind of a steward of the character, right, for her. Yeah. And so she, I don't know. She thought that some of the writers didn't get the tone of how the character would be. But whatever. But before we move on, John, September 6th, 2024 is also the release date of Marvel's Blade 2. If
it's not gonna happen, dude.
Filming. So let's pretend, John, that Blade 2 comes out at the same time, the same day as Beetlejuice 2. It's B2 versus B2. Who's winning?
No, it's technically B4?
Yeah, B4. Who's winning?
Blade or your boys. Winning that fight 100% is Blade. You can't stop You can't stop the Marvel machine unless Keaton really blows up during this Flash movie. And everyone goes back and rewatches, like, the Good Cop, all the old Batmans, Beetlejuices. I don't know what else is claimed famous, but they dig up like his Vulture and everything like that. Like, I don't think so. I think there's too much hype around the Marvel. It's the return of Blade, who basically kicked off this whole superhero genre. So I don't see anyone like us choosing Beetlejuice over Blade, which would be, if we were sitting around a campfire, we would be like, hey, you know what should be back in the Marvel universe? Blade, for sure. It should be rated R. It should be dark. It should be, haunting looking, like 100%. I think Blade wins that fight.
With all these issues with it, with production, everything going on.
Oh, it's going to be a disaster, but Beetlejuice is going to suffer the same fate.
You know what? I'm going to take the opposite just for this conversation. Yeah. I think Beetlejuice might win out, only because you have that nostalgia factor. You have the Gen X nostalgia factor who might be a little bit tired of dealing with
They might be like, I don't want to see the superhero. I love Wednesday, though.
I want
Beetlejuice guy is basically the character that Beetlejuice hung out with, which is the daughter of the Winona Ryder character. She's very similar to the Wednesday motif, right?
Yeah. Emo kind of,
Yeah, I forgot what her name was.
Lydia.
Eleanor? Lenia? Yeah.
All right, so we started off the news tonight, John, with an update on a show returning, and now we're going to shift to a show that is ending. Amazon Studios announced that Jack Ryan, the fourth and final season, will bow June 30th on Amazon Prime. Now, this is utterly surprising to me, given the fact that season 3 premiered just 6 months ago, December 21st, 2022. We knew that they had filmed season 3 and 4 back to back, but again, John, this date coming out is completely surprising. And as a rundown, season 1 came out August 31st, 2018. Season 2 was about a year later with November 1st, 2019. So a year and a few months. And then season 3 was December of 2022. So it was like 2 years, right? So I'm just very shocked that 6 months later, we're going to get the next season and unfortunately the final one. Now, I enjoyed season 3 quite a lot, and I am now pretty hyped for season 4. But John, knowing that the end is nigh, will you now catch up and watch season 4 as well, or are you done? The difference, the time length.
Yeah. If generally what I hear, and I think you stated it, that season 3 is actually quite good.
Right.
Season 2 didn't capture me for some reason, maybe just bad timing. But generally, the general consensus is season 3 is really good. So what you do want to do is you want to join in that hype for a final season, because if something happens to that character goes away. Obviously, there is also a book series, I think, that goes with this character, so you probably won't see him go away, but you never know.
Right.
But do you not want it to be maybe short and sweet, Rob, or would you rather seen 8 to 10 seasons of this?
You know what? I think with John Krasinski at his age, and he's a perfect age for this character. Do you know what I'm saying? I think if we go 10 seasons and we get a little bit long in the tooth. Listen, you know me, I'm a big fan of 24. You get in those later seasons, the storyline kind of drops, but then Jack Bauer, as played by Kiefer Sutherland, starting to show his age a little bit. So I think this is the sweet spot. So I'm okay with it taking its final bow, and the character is not dying, right? Like the character itself, he will be back. So, but as you said, there's books, there's movies. They've made 5 movies, right? So 6 movies actually with this character. So 3 with Harrison Ford, 1 with Alec Baldwin. Then you had Chris Pine as the last one, and the one in between Ford and Pine was Ben Affleck.
Yeah. In my younger days, I would have been like, "Oh, have it just go forever." I love seeing this guy.
Yeah.
But now that time is limited, and you do want the quality of the work, and you want to be able to maybe rewatch it, and not have to set aside a year to watch 10 seasons of something, or you know what? Once something gets up to 10 seasons, how realistically do you ever go back and rewatch it? Right? I've never rewatched all of Smallville. I've never rewatched. You know what? Friends did get quite a few rewatches when in my younger days, but never any now. I've never watched it from season 1 all the way to whatever season they got to. In now in the days of streaming era, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. I think in the streaming era, you're good for about 4 to 5 seasons. Then people are like, okay, I can't handle 3 more seasons.
Yeah, you flip around. You got lots of other stuff to. There's more variety now.
Yeah.
And quality, a lot of money going into a lot of these new shows, so you can kind of mix it up. So yeah, we'll see.
All right, and let's end the news tonight, John, with the biggest news item of the week, and that was a report that came out on Saturday about James Gunn's Superman Legacy movie. Possible casting choices were leaked via a story in the Hollywood Reporter. Now, obviously, we take this whole thing with a grain of salt. But the rumors are that Nicholas Hoult, Beast in the Matthew Vaughn X-Men movies, as well as Nux from Mad Max Fury Road, may be up for the role of Lex Luthor. As for Lois Lane, rumors are Emma McKay of the Netflix series Sex Education, Rachel Brosnan of Amazon's A Marvelous Miss Maisel. There's also a Bridgerton actress by the name of Phoebe Divinor, and Samara Weaving, John, who we last saw in Scream 6, and is also the daughter of Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith. That's not her.
Why'd you send me this picture then?
Because that was part of the Beetlejuice 2. That's Janet Ortega.
All right. Let's rewind. This is Janet Ortega. Okay, fast forward.
All right. Now, as for Superman himself, some rumors suggest Nicholas Hoult, he who was just named as a possible Lex Luthor, and who you're looking at on the screen here to my immediate right here. Nicholas Hoult may be up for the role of Superman. However, there's also Jacob Elordi of Euphoria and David Corenswet, whatever. He's the guy in the second right next to Nicholas Hoult, seen here, who seems to be the front runner for Superman. Now, I will say, John, this guy is Henry Cavill is 6'1" and quite bulky. This guy is 6'4". And he's got the height to him. He definitely has a chin. Now, Gunn did go online to say that he never comments about casting until such time as the actors decide to do it themselves regarding a part that they may have lost, such as he gave the example of Zach Levi. He talked about how he lost out to a Guardians role and this and that. And then, of course, at that point, then Gunn will talk about it. But He generally doesn't comment on casting until it's done. He did go on to say, though, John, only one person has been cast in Superman Legacy thus far, and it isn't any of the regular players in the Superman world. So there's a whole bunch here to unpack, John, but what are your preliminary thoughts on the cast being rumored? Namely, Nick Holt, let's just go with him as Luthor, and David Corenswet as Clark Kent / Superman. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they're good. They're good looking guys, of course. They don't have a defining previous superhero role already.
Well, he was Beast. Nicholas Hoult was Beast in the X-Men.
I feel like it's not defining though. I've never looked at that guy and went, "Hey, that's Beast from X-Men."
Sure.
I feel like it's never stuck with me like that. So I'm okay with this, especially if he's going to end up playing the bad guy. I feel like these are relatively fresher faces, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'd be okay with this. I haven't watched much of their work, so I'm okay with a new group of talent coming in and just it'll all be on the director, what the director can get out of them, right? That's why you see some people going back and working with the same director because they're able to do things with them. So yeah, I don't know.
Now, how you feel, Nicholas Hoult he actually did audition for Matt Reeves' The Batman, and obviously lost out to Robert Pattinson. Yeah. I can't see him as Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah.
Could I see him as Luthor? Maybe. Yeah. Now, but for me, like the biggest thing would be Superman, right? I think the problem is we all have who we believe to be our ideal Superman, or what you envision when you're reading, or certain artist styles. You like, oh, I want them to look like this guy who kind of looks like that. Like, and maybe you're a big fan of Gary Frank's version of Superman who kind of resembles Christopher Reeve, or maybe you're a big fan of Jason Fabok Superman, right? Who doesn't look like Cavill, but he's got that body type. So it's hard to say what everybody's going to have a different opinion. I think it's one of the toughest roles probably to cast. At least with Batman, half the face is covered up in a mask, right? So we'll see. I actually don't mind this actor, David Corenswet. I was trying to remember where I saw him, and then there was I don't think it was Netflix. It might have been Amazon. Maybe it was Netflix. There was a miniseries called Hollywood. And he starred in that movie and that TV series, and it was just like maybe 10 episodes, and it was like about Hollywood stars from like way back when Hollywood was just kind of exploding in the 40s and 50s. And he was pretty good on that. That's my really only tie to him. So sure, let's see what happens. I suspect we're probably going to get some casting information at Comic-Con. I would assume, because cameras start rolling sometime at the end of this year, I think, right? So we'll see, or maybe it's early next, but I'm thinking Comic-Con. I don't know what your thoughts are, John, but
did you have anyone else in mind that you could think of, maybe, that you were?
You know what? I've tried to not fan cast. No, because you know what? Then it just gets like, oh, I want this, and I'm just like, I don't. Let's just see let's see. I want somebody though I don't need like Henry Cavill massive. I don't want somebody has like a fake suit. Like Henry Cavill's so jacked, he didn't need to have a padded suit, right? So you don't have to be as broad as Cavill. Have some muscle, but this guy is 6'4". That's a huge, that's Chris Reeve tall, right? That for me is already a tick in the plus box. Like I like that. I like the more cut but leaner and tall Superman as opposed to like the big muscular.
The height certainly gives, because Superman should be a kind of like, I don't want to say intimidating, but he should be a guy that
posing or whatever
that kind of stands out when he's in the Superman outfit. Obviously, he does this Clark Kent thing and fades into the background. But when he's Superman, he should be someone that you look at and you go, "Wow, that's a nice looking dude." But I feel like we're pretty accepting in these different castings of Superman, like the Superman and Lois show. I'm fine with that guy being Superman. I don't feel like I go like, this guy has to be my Superman.
Sure.
So I feel like we're pretty easy right now with what type of thing you interpret for Superman. Steve does ask, what if that Nicolas Cage Superman ever happened? I think they would have cut his hair, right? You've seen pictures and you always see the long hair.
No, he was going to keep the hair. Don't forget, around that time, Superman had that long, crazy hair when he came back from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it was like curly and stuff. I don't know. That would have been hilarious. That would be a big to see them all lined up, all the different Supermans. Although I believe one is omitted now, right?
It would have been horrible.
Yeah. What about Tom Welling? Is Tom Welling not come back?
No. No. All right, John, that's the news, buddy.
Yeah, okay. I did want to drop it. I don't know if you heard, Rob. Super Mario is supposedly dropping on digital tomorrow.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that Super Mario Brothers the movie is now going to be officially available on digital as of tomorrow, I believe.
Really?
Through Amazon and other outlets. So I did see that drop. So if you guys did not see Mario Brothers, you're going to be able to watch it in the comfort of your home.
Look at that. Expected May 16th on iTunes 2023.
Yeah. Crazy, right? Crazy
world we live in, right?
Yeah.
No, you and I worked at video stores, and you would have to wait sometimes 8 months for it to appear on video.
Yeah. People would ask, when's this movie coming out? And you're like, oh, it just came out in theaters. You're going to have to wait till like Christmas, like middle of the year.
Yeah.
So Eric says already. I actually thought it was supposed to drop sooner, but I think it was making so much good bank that they're like, okay, let's hold this back a little bit. And then someone leaked it on Twitter or something like that. So they're probably trying to mitigate that piracy of it. I look forward to watching it. I'm going to try showing it to my kids, but I'm mostly watching it for me. So we'll see how it goes.
$30. Is that a blind buy for you?
I think with the reception that it got from fans of the game and people who've grown up and people who just generally seem to like fun movies. I think so. I think it's the $30 wouldn't be too much.
All right.
To buy. To rent, maybe I would hesitate because I feel like these movies you rewatch a lot. So you're like, you would buy it. So
all right.
Yeah. Cool. So Eric mentions that it's killing the box office. Because it's only 90 minutes. So the time it takes to air any of these other movies that we're going to talk about, you can watch this twice. A couple of our buddies that work in the movie theater say they usually have some time in between showings to go in and clean up. And when Mario comes up, they're flipping them so fast that they have to like rush to get those theaters. Clean up your stuff, guys. I don't understand why everyone just leaves all their garbage everywhere. But try to clean up some of it. You know, that the popcorn that falls on the floor, sure, leave that. But you can take your drink and your popcorn and throw it out. But anyways, we're going to talk about movies that you should or you must go see in the theaters this summer, right, Rob? You love going to the theater. I love going to the theater. Can I ask you quickly about your theater of choice? I know you've mentioned it a lot of times here, but I want to give the theaters a little bit of love because it is an experience that was taken away from us for a while, and now we've got it back.
Yeah, so my favorite theater, I'm out in the Durham region area, and so my favorite theater is Landmark out in Whitby. It's at Thixon and 401. I love the seats, all reclining seats. It's not a special upgrade for your reclining seats. However, they have these new seats the past year or so. Premier seating, John. The wider seats, the headrests adjust. You can have it. You can get it heated. There's 2 levels of heating. Also reclining, and it's like being in a cubby, right? Like in a little cubicle.
It sounds like it's a luxury car. It's like a Cadillac or a Lexus.
It's you know, you have a little cubicle, you have a desk, you can put stuff on. It's wider. You can put your bag if you're bringing your wife. You got your backpack, John. You can take your backpack off, throw it in this little cubby. It has a hook. Hook for your.
I think I gotta come up, Rob. I gotta come up, and we gotta do a movie.
Yeah, man, you got to. I will treat you to the premier seating, and you'll be like, this is amazing, right? Smack in the middle row of the theater. It's the best. So, Landmark Theaters. We got to get them maybe to sponsor the show, but
it's kind of funny because in my area, the Landmark Theater doesn't exist. We have the Imagine Cinemas, and then we have the Cineplex.
You have the what cinemas?
The Imagine Cinemas.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people used to know it as Rainbow Cinemas or whatever. It's basically it's a smaller chain with recliners and smaller screens, and they have old school nachos and they typically house themselves in older theaters. But I'm lucky enough to have 2 theaters in my area: the Markham VIP, which is an absolutely fantastic newer theater, crazy glittery stuff in the floor. It's got that really, really sick IMAX screen. So it's definitely my one of choice. And then in my area, I do go to Silver City. I don't know if you remember when you used to come up here ever. So that one has the AVX and it's got the D-box seats, which are the moving seats. I usually do not opt for them.
You're too old now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm too old. They set up a little. Yeah, you know what? Exactly. I might be too old because the seats are a little more upright than I would like. And sometimes they move around too much. You can adjust it. So I might,
too queasy. Like,
yeah, I might add it on for Fast and the Furious. But I didn't watch.
You'll be puking everywhere. Don't have a slushy that night if you're going everywhere.
Yeah. So let me jump to the So Steve mentions he loves going to downtown Markham, which is the Markham VIP that I was talking about.
Yeah,
and they do have a VIP section which serves the alcoholic beverages, and you get food delivered. If you arrive to the movie early enough, you order your food, they bring it to your seat.
So there's
cool
a VIP cinema just to the west of me in Pickering,
Yeah.
and I'm like really right in the middle. I'm more glamour, but
Yeah.
my son's gone to that one. Obviously, he's too young to get into that 18 plus VIP stuff.
Yeah.
But I am tempted to check it out. It just, to be honest with you, the prices just seem bananas to me for the I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're charging a premium. You know, the food. It's basically, if you are going to have to go and eat with whoever you're gathering together with, it's a pretty good option, because then you get both in one. You're not wasting any time sitting around in the restaurant waiting for the bill, or waiting for your food to be delivered. Let's check in with Eric here. Eric says he lives in a small town. He doesn't have IMAX or Dolby Cinema, so we sound like a bunch of spoiled jerks. Sorry, Eric. So hopefully, So the IMAX, I believe it's the screen size, the sheer size of the screen, I believe, and the quality, and the Dolby. I'm not sure about the Dolby Digital, but
well, that's just the sound, right?
yeah. So I know that's a sound. Like ours, typically you get an IMAX screen or you get an AVX screen, and the IMAX screen is the creme de la creme, the best screen that's out there. So yeah. Sorry, Eric, but hopefully maybe you can come to visit us and check out some of these big screens. But hopefully wherever you go in your local town is a fun time when you go as well. So Fraser says he likes both the VIP Markham. I know him and Fraser frequent there, and then Landmark and Whitby. So what's up, Lewis? We're about to dive into the summertime movies. We were just showing a little love to the local theaters that we like to go to and have a fun. I do highly recommend the theater experience. I think it's one of the best ways to enjoy a movie. So yeah, go ahead and support your theaters. A lot of wonderful people work there, and you can get some really expensive popcorn and drinks. But
you know what, though? You know what, John? I was supposed to, I don't know, I might be going up to Ottawa the first week of July for a dance competition, but now with this construction, I might be staying home. But if I was going to be going up, I was thinking about going and dropping in on the Mayfair Theater. And if you remember, a couple of years ago, we had Josh Stafford on, who was the artist, I believe, of
I think it's one of the writers. Him and Howard were writers on Damned Cursed
Children. Yes.
Cursed Damn Children. One or the other. I always mix it up.
Children. Yeah. And so he runs this Mayfair Theater, which is like an old school, it's been open since 1932. This old school cinema. And I was really kind of intrigued about heading up there and checking it out. But there is something about that. I used to live downtown Toronto, and I love going to the old theaters and just, seeing how, there's something different about watching a movie in those type of theaters as opposed to these new reclining seats and everything else like that. So I don't know. I love my recliners, but there's a part of me still likes to do those nostalgic type of theaters. So if you're in the Ottawa area, go check out the Mayfair Theater and say hi to Josh.
Yeah.
Let them know we sent you. Okay. Yeah. Let's get into our list, John.
So everybody, thanks for joining us.
2023.
Yeah. So we're going to choose our favorite movies, or what we're most looking forward to for the summer of 2023, which is going to cover, Rob, we're already halfway through May. So I think we only got a couple choices for May. And then we're going to talk about June, July, August. And then I think there's only one movie on the list for September that M. Tarmizi mentioned, and that's Equalizer 3. But we are 100% looking forward to Mission Impossible. But how do you want to do this, Rob? Do you want me to just throw up posters, or do you want to go through your list of movies?
Well, I can do a quick rundown. I don't know if you have the posters to match it or not. But obviously right now in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah, right? Let's talk about this month. So this month, May, you've probably already seen some of these. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, 100%, Rob.
Yep. May 19th, we have Fast 10 is coming out. And then this is John's pick for the month of May, will be May 26th, The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
So do you have a pick of what it is your most anticipated summer movie, or has it already come out?
So kind of unfair, because Guardians we already saw, and it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was great. It was a great capper to the series. But if I had to choose before I got to see Guardians, I would have if I had to use my one ticket for that month, it would be for Fast X. It's quite a legacy going on here, and we just heard that it's announced to be a 3-part finale.
Maybe.
So Rob, I know Rob's not a fan, but I came from loving that first movie so much. And
you said Tokyo Drift. You were a ride or die with Tokyo
Drift is blasphemy. I feel like they should eradicate the entire back half of that movie.
No, we've got podcasts saying that's one of your favorite movies.
I grew up Fast and Furious 1, Fast and Furious 2, and then even Fast and Furious 3, and then I thought that was it. You know, I got a bunch of cool car movies starring my guy Paul Walker, and Vin Diesel was there as well. But it exploded into this 10-movie monstrosity. So, and the cast, like, Rob, do you not admit at least the trailer? I think it's got Brie Larson in it. It's got Charlize Theron.
Yeah, they've released a new trailer, but I didn't look at it. I am staying away from the new trailer. Sure, whatever.
Listen, you guys let us know in the comments what you guys would choose for May then.
It comes out this weekend. I'm not going to be here. So I will go. I will see it when I get back, whether it's next week or next weekend. I will go see it for sure. Because nothing else coming out in May.
No, there's Little Mermaid, Rob. With the
zero interest. You know what? Listen, I'll be honest with you. If my daughter, who's 11, if she wanted to go see it, I would totally take her to go see it for sure. She doesn't like movies. She just wants to watch YouTube
Rob,
videos.
I'm on my. I jokingly picked Little Mermaid as one of my most anticipated movies for, I guess, the later in the half of the year, because my girls control all the music in the car in the house.
Right.
And it was Frozen. You know, well, it was a bunch of Pink Fong. I don't know, Rob. I think you missed out on the Pink Fong years, and then it turned into Frozen, and then now we had newer stuff like Encanto and Moana and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm back to Frozen, which really sucks. So I'm looking forward to Little Mermaid hitting, and hopefully
it's different. Have you thought about introducing your daughters to Pink Floyd?
Get out of town. Purple Rain, maybe with Prince.
With Prince? No. All right. So you're picking Fast 10. I would have picked Guardians if we had.
Yeah. For some reason, Guardians, because of the previous Marvel movie kind of slate, I wasn't as hyped for. I kind of didn't appreciate it until I did watch 2 before going to see 3. But after I watched 3, I was like, okay, this is really well done, really good put together.
Yeah.
Steve's talking about the Jason Momoa being slid into. I don't think it's Fast 5 he's being slid into. He's being slid into the Steve. If you remember the movie that had the magnets and the BRZ.
No, it's Fast 5 with the
safes.
The safe.
I thought it was the magnet cars. That's the clip I thought I saw.
No, I think it's a safe.
All right, I'll have to go and watch that trailer again. But yeah.
Okay, let's hit June. And this is gonna be a tough one for John. June
let's go.
2nd, we see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is really interesting that they're not putting part 1 because we know that it's a 2-part movie. The next week, the 9th of June, Transformers Rise of the Beast, which is another one that John is super excited for. The 16th, we have 2 movies. The first one is The Flash.
I'm Train Rob.
Yeah, choo motherfuckers. And then Asteroid City is also coming out. If you are a Wes Anderson fanatic, I'm sure you'll really enjoy this. I suspect it will get destroyed. June 23rd.
Will it be good though? Will it be good?
I think you're either a Wes Anderson fan or you're not.
Okay.
So that's, and no, it's not a knock to him. I just think he makes a very, auteur style of movies, and you either really enjoy them, or you don't. No Hard Feelings, June 23rd, sees the return of our friend Jennifer Lawrence here. And I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this one, John. Yeah. It really caught me off guard, and I was killing myself laughing. It's quite funny, and I think the phrase "no hard feelings," John, is a bit of a double entendre there.
Is it a rom-com or is it just a comedy?
Well, I think it's more of a comedy, but as you can see, it's from the team that brought you Good Boys. So if you've seen Good Boys, I think you have a pretty good indication of the type of style movie this one is going to be. So we also have the end of the month, June 30th, John's probably favorite movie of the month, I'm going to call it now for him, is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So John, that's a pretty stacked June, right? Like,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
at least you got 4 solid movies in Spider-Man, Transformers, Flash, and Indiana Jones. So what's your pick? Are you picking 1 or 2 that you're most anticipated for the month of June?
Okay, just to make it difficult, I'm gonna pick only one. So shout outs to what's it called? Like this, yeah, this is the No Hard Feelings. Yeah, good for them bringing a comedy to the theaters. And then the Wes Anderson fans, sure. I want to stick it to Rob, but I think I have to choose Flash. If I only had to choose one, I have to choose Flash. The last Transformers movie was Bumblebee.
Yeah,
I did enjoy it. The one before that, Last Night or Last Stand or whatever,
last night,
trash movie,
right.
is so bad that I would be willing to give up my ticket for Transformers in favor of the Flash, which does look mad hype. And Into the Spider-Verse, I never watched the first one in theaters, so I think I'm okay with catching it on the digital after. If I only had to choose one this month, Rob, I think we all know what you chose. So I almost should have chose something different. I am mad hype for the Beast Wars.
Asteroid City. No,
Yeah.
obviously it's a Flash. I'm calling it now. I guarantee once this movie, the tickets drop, I'm buying tickets for the Friday and Saturday, maybe even the Sunday show. I'll go 2 to 3 times that opening weekend. If I can get my premier seats, I'm there. And John, maybe you should come out and we'll watch them together. But that's not to say though that I'm not excited for Spider-Man. Like I reluctantly went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was around Christmas time. So I think I saw it like in like the 28th of December, like when it came out in 2019, I think it was.
Because you're not a cartoon guy. You're not an animated guy.
Yeah. I've kind of grown out of that. And not to please, it's not a knock about anybody. It's just for me, I loved cartoons, and then for whatever reason, I just stopped really enjoying it. I went to watch it with my son, and I fell in love with that movie. Like I love that movie. So I am very excited to see what happens with this one. It just sucks that it's also the same month that we've got the Flash and Indiana Jones. The last one, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, really kind of
it burned all the bridges.
But you know what? I've heard a lot of people saying that them rewatching it now, like 10 years later, they really like it. So I think I'm going to go back and kind of watch these movies again, John. I feel like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull really kind of ruined Indiana Jones, the original trilogy for me a little bit, because I used to watch those movies all the time, and I haven't seen anything since then. So we'll see. I am excited to go see this. I will go see this on opening weekend. But for me, by far, June 16th, The Flash. Gonna murder the month of June.
The latest Indiana Jones trailer did make it look actually pretty good. So I might give it a chance, but if I had to choose something on the list, I don't know if it would have been Indiana Jones that I just strike off completely.
Yeah.
But only because I have no attachment to the previous Indiana Jones. Other than I think Harrison Ford is awesome. That would be my only attachment. So,
all right.
So there's that. All right, let's move on to the next
July.
month. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, July 7th, we see Insidious, The Red Door. And I threw this up here, John, because these movies, this is like the 4th one, I think, or like these movies, they just keep churning them out. People love watching these Insidious Conjuring movies, this universe of movies. So Insidious, The Red Door is July 7th. Also the 7th is Joyride. John, this one looks really freaking funny. It's I think it's from the same team that did Crazy Rich Asians, I think.
It shares a lot of the same cast, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, from the co-director of Crazy Rich Asians. Yeah. It looks really, really funny, and like I would totally see it. Now, am I going to the theater to see it? Like if my wife wanted to go for like a date night, I would say, hey, let's go check this out. It's a comedy. For sure, I would see it. Would I see it with my son? I probably wouldn't. It's just not up our alley, right? So
you might have a really incredibly fun time, though. This would be an experience kind of like unlike anything else you watch, but it does look very much like a girls' night out type movie. And I do like a lot of like, Asians in the cast here, obviously. But I do like these performers playing non-traditional Asians, which has always been one of my favorite things in representation in films, when someone like an Awkwafina jumps in and plays a non-traditional Asian character. So this looks I remember we saw the trailer during, I forgot what movie it was, but everyone was laughing.
Probably John Wick or something. Yeah,
it might have been John Wick. Yeah, it's really out of place. They played the Sisu trailer and then probably played like Joyride, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?"
Right,
time to laugh. But it looks like fantastic fun, and I see like we're older guys, right? But you see the pictures, you see these girls dressed very differently, with lots of kind of, I don't know if you would call it flair or spunkiness or whatever. But you see these kids out and about today now that they kind of have these looks
Yeah.
to them. So I'm glad that a movie like this is coming out for representation.
Yeah, me
So
too.
yeah,
And again, like I'm not, when I say I wouldn't, my son and I wouldn't see it. It's just would have zero interest in it. But he's a 14-year-old boy. Why would he? Right? He would see it though if like a couple of the girls he's hanging out with wanted to see it. He would definitely go to see it with them. So that's cool. Okay, July 12th is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. It says July 14th on that poster, but I think they moved it up to the 12th.
I think it's wrong.
But I do know, I am surprised that we are literally 2 months. We haven't gotten a new trailer. I don't know if we will get a new trailer for this. I think just the hype and word of mouth is propelling this movie. The following week on the 21st, we have a movie mash off going head to head, John. The first one is Margot Robbie's Barbie movie. And going up against Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer.
Two very different looking movies.
Vastly different. One
Could they be any more different?
Right. One is about the most popular posable or imposable plastic doll of all time, and the other is in regard to the dawn of atomic bomb.
Rob's jam.
Okay. I am really hyped to see this. I love Christopher Nolan movies, right?
Yeah.
Like I've gone to every one except for Memento. That was the only one I didn't go to the theater for. So
Memento, great watch.
It is, but I mean, at the time, it was kind of like an indie flick, right? So
yeah,
I'm really excited to see this movie. And then the end of the month is Disney's The Haunted. What did he say? Sorry, but what? Oppenheimer has a crazy cast. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Disney's The Haunted Mansion, based on its theme park ride. So, John, again, it's a fairly stacked July. Let's knock out Insidious. You've got, Joyride is the comedy of the month, Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Disney's The Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. Well, Insidious, I think there's research out now that basically says the big action movie makes money, and the horror movies, right?
Yeah.
And then, rom-coms are pretty much dead. So it's good that they're still doing the horrors in theaters. I think my wife was asking me, who goes to these horrors? I'm like, it's the date movie. It's the new date movie, right?
Yep.
Right. You don't go to the rom-com. You go to the scary movie.
The Friends movies, right? You go with a bunch of friends.
Yeah. You go out with your friends, or you go on the date movie.
Listen, it's got to be a solid movie if it's opening up in the middle of summer. Like you have to generally these things will open up around
October.
Halloween or February. They bury them in February, right?
It looks hella creepy from this poster. I don't follow any of this stuff.
Right.
Horror's not my jam, but it looks pretty. It looks pretty crazy.
Hey man, Megan came out in was it January or February, and that made massive bank, it just premiered on Amazon Prime a couple weeks ago. I have to watch it still. Smile and Megan came out in January and February, and those things made so much money. So horror is still a viable option.
Horror lives in theaters. Rom-coms, I think you're gonna all end up on Netflix, which is fine. Netflix and Amazon.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of Shotgun Wedding, but that's a whole different animal. So yeah, the Barbie, I don't get it all, Rob. I still don't get it. I'm gonna have to see some more trailers. I don't understand who it's for. I don't understand if it's gonna work. It seems so high concept, unless what they're showing us in the trailers is the high concept stuff. But I think Fraser said big pass on that. But yeah, he we might not be the target audience. I don't know if it has you intrigued at all.
What's that?
Does it have you intrigued at all?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm intrigued. To say I'm not intrigued would be incorrect. I am intrigued, but will I go to the theater to see it? Probably not. Again, if my daughter wanted to go, I would totally take her. Right. But she won't, and I won't. So I'll see it. But when it drops on streaming, whether it's Netflix, Crave, or Disney, I would totally watch it for sure. But it's not I have no hype for it.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, for me, listen, I have a really tough time trying to decide, is it Mission Impossible or is it Oppenheimer for me? I'm going to go with Mission Impossible. I think that's probably due in part, John, to you and I rewatching these movies for Mission Mondays has gotten me excited. But again, even Tenet which was to me probably on the lower end of Chris Nolan movies, although just gorgeous the way he filmed it is. I love watching it for what it did visually.
Yeah.
I can't not be super hyped for Oppenheimer, but I know I might be in the minority based on the.
Yeah, I feel bad. Like 100% my ticket goes to Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Sure.
We saw what he did with Maverick. We're totally invested because of the Mission Mondays.
Yeah.
But I have to respect this movie, even though I look at the name, I look at the poster, I hear about the description. I'm kind of like, I don't know, Rob. I don't know if this is something I was asking for to see brought to life. But like you said, his movies like Tenet, he did Dunkirk as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Dunkirk. I missed that in theaters, but I'm trying to think. Inception is his, right? And then the Batman's. I think I do owe it to see this in theaters, even though I have no interest in this kind. Not no interest, but I never desired to see this type of content. But
so you should come out then. You're talking about coming out to
maybe this is where we do it.
Yeah, we should do it, and then we'll do a live video reaction on Instagram afterwards.
Yeah. It's I do appreciate these movies more now that we've been kind of delving into some stuff like There Will Be Blood and stuff like that. So
sure,
I
like this is the thing, right? Is I love the popcorn, the big action explosion, all that stuff, the tentpole flicks, but I also really enjoy like these dramatic historical movies, right? Like JFK, I watched that movie a dozen times as a young guy, right? Like, I was a teenager. I was like, I couldn't get enough of the, JFK Oliver Stone movies. So that's my jam. I'm excited for it. For Oppenheimer. Sorry, I said Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, John, if I had to put, gun to head, I would probably say I'm most hyped for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Part 1.
Yeah, that's the one you rush to. You want to see that.
Yeah.
Out the gate, you want to see what Tom Cruise and this whole team has put together.
Yeah.
The golden standard. We've all seen the clip of Tom Cruise reaming everybody out. But yeah, let's I think hands down, I don't blame anyone for picking that one as their number one. But a lot of solid contenders that month as well. All right, so let's move on to the next month.
August. Okay, so August the 4th is the Meg 2, The Trench. Which this trailer is bananas. I don't even know what to say. When you see Jason Statham stopping the Meg shark with his foot, I'm like, come on, man. Also, August the 4th, John, is another take on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this time by Seth Rogen, called Mutant Mayhem. This trailer was actually kind of surprised me. I enjoyed the trailer a lot more than I expected to. So I am kind of excited to see where this one goes. August 11th, talking about movies that surprised me out of nowhere. Gran Turismo, which is based on a true story. And obviously based on the PlayStation game. But this is, I like the idea that they're doing something different. It's not like Need for Speed, remember with right? So they're doing this. It's a pretty cool concept. It's a kid who's, he does really well on the racing circuit, like playing the actual PlayStation game, and then he ends up getting a job for driving for Nissan during this whole thing. August 11th, also see Lewis. Also sees the last voyage of the Demeter. Which if you are a Bram Stoker fan, you realize that what the significance.
I was like, "What is this, Rob?"
Yeah, I know that
you foreign poster. What's going on?
No, you didn't see the trailer, but the trailer is pretty sick. And as the tagline, the post says, "The Legend of Dracula is born." And then to round out the end of the month of August 18th is the latest entry in the DC EU, which is Blue Beetle, starring your boy from Cobra Kai, Zolo Mandura, I believe his name is. So, generally in the dog days of summer, you start to get a little bit, you don't have those big, massive tentpole movies. That's usually where they throw in like the Transporter, Crank, some of those movies, those easy kind of the Meg. But out of these, John, the Meg, Ninja Turtles, Gran Turismo, Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I know is not on your radar, and Blue Beetle. Which one are you most hyped for?
Yeah, 100% is the Ninja Turtles. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised with how attached to the Turtles I became. I watched a lot of the animated show when I was growing up. I had a lot of the toys because that was like right in the era where I guess we were able to go and get the toys. And I did really enjoy the Nickelodeon animated series, and then even the one that came after, the Rise of TMNT.
Yeah.
And then they did an animated feature. I don't know if it went to movie theaters or not a while back as well. And then even Rise of TMNT got an animated feature as well.
Yeah.
So I think that one, especially this new reimagining, where it seems like they're more, they've moved on from surfer dudes to like kind of like a new
dudes.
kind of
yeah. Great.
to a new chapter.
But
it looks really good. I think Seth Rogen, he's done a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't attach his name to. I think in this kind of bringing things back or animated realm. I think it slips my mind right now, but I know he did another project recently that came out with really good results. So Ninja Turtles takes it for me for sure.
Well, Seth Rogen, like listen, as a producer, The Boys, right?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he produced The Boys. Yeah, that was
Invincible. Right. Like he's producing a lot of movies and TV series. For me, I it's hard because which one of these would I go to the theater to see? Well, listen.
Are you gonna pick Blue Beetle? Because I think it looks bad.
Yeah,
that's my take on it from that trailer. I think it looks bad from the trailer.
Well, okay. The trailer looks better than I expected, but then you know what I started getting a lot of? The Guyver. Remember the Guyver movies from the 90s? I got a lot of that out of it. I think I'm not the target audience for the Blue Beetle, right? Like I think my kid is into your early 20s. So, but out of all of these, I would probably go see Blue Beetle at the theater. Then Gran Turismo does intrigue me, but I don't know if it's an opening weekend. So out of these,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, out of these 5 movies for the month of August, Blue Beetle is the opening weekend one for me. It would be, right? So
you would. I think you might have bet on me picking Gran Turismo, but I like Fast and the Furious 1 street racing. So Need for Speed kind of started out that way, and then it turned into like this weird prototype Mustang, like I don't know what the hell it was, and then they started racing the supercars at the end. So the Gran Turismo rate, like open wheel racing or whatever you want to call it on the track, doesn't appeal to me as much as a bunch of guys in tuned up street machines driving around. So the Gran Turismo, I think it's got my streaming vote. I'm going to stream it. I don't know if I'll see that in theaters.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
I think for me, it would be like if I'm off the end of August and there's like nothing going on, rainy day, I'd probably go to the theater to see it. Yeah. Unless it's like the reviews are just out of the like control. Then I'd be like, oh, there's something here. I'll go check it out. And then to round out, we only have one for September, and it really is just the beginning of the Labor Day weekend. So that's why we included it. And it's our boy Denzel Washington reteaming with Anton Fuqua for Equalizer 3.
And your girl, Dakota Fanning.
Yeah. So Equalizer 3, I'm definitely going to go see this. Probably opening weekend. Although it's Labor Day weekend, probably not. Maybe the weekend after that. It's hard Labor Day weekend to go see a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it doesn't get my automatic ticket because I still haven't seen Equalizer 2.
Right.
Or the TV series was kind of fun, and the first series we just rewatched. So if you didn't rewatch that recently, check out our recent review in a vigilante movie showdown. But Fraser says he's going to go see it. Lewis says he'll probably see Gran Turismo. But I think this Turtles movie, I think it's going to be something. They've done, whoever owns it, like, is it produced by Nickelodeon as well? Is Nickelodeon attached to it? It has to be, right?
MTV are also involved. Yeah.
They seem to know what they're doing with this Turtles line. Because I have not been disappointed by any of the stuff that they've released over the last, I don't know how long.
And I will say, though, that the trailer evokes the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse type style of animation. So it does intrigue me a lot more than what the other ones have, right? So
they're playing like an old school hip hop track and stuff like that. So
I took my son to go see the live action ones that they made. Those 2 movies that came out, oh God, it's got to be 6 years ago.
Sorry. Yeah. So I forgot about the Michael Bay ones.
Yeah.
The first one is not great.
No, the second one's not that bad. It's
the
okay.
Second one's definitely, I think, a step in the right direction, and they could have made something off of that one.
Yeah, that's one with Stephen Amell is Casey Jones.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, which I thought was fine. I thought it was a good dive into Hollywood for him. So Lewis says he hasn't seen Equalizer 1 and 2. Well, get on that, Lewis.
No surprise. I actually didn't mind those live action turtle movies, but we'll see how this one fares out. I would be one of those guys, like, if the reviews are just knocking out of the park and it's like, you have to see this, kind of like the hype that we got for Spider-Man, then I would definitely go see it.
Yeah.
In theater. Yeah.
I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So thank you, folks. That was our movie rundown. Out of all those, Rob, what is the most anticipated? Is it The Flash?
Yeah, it's good for the entire summer. It's got to be The Flash. The most anticipated movie for the summer. It's got to be The Flash, man. Yeah, it has to be.
I feel like for me, it probably is Mission Impossible. Just because I'm such a Tom Cruise fan, and very close to it is probably The Fast and Furious. Even though the last ones I haven't liked as much, Rob.
So you put Flash as your third most anticipated of the summer?
I think so. I don't want to hype it up too much, Rob. We got tricked. Remember how hyped we were for 84, Wonder Woman 84?
Yeah, but the difference being, though, is that they released The Flash over a month ago at CinemaCon, and it got huge reviews, and it still wasn't even a finished cut.
Yeah, that concerns me, because if you're invited to something like that, if you decide to come out and go, I thought it was trash, then you're never getting invited to something like that again.
Yeah, right? But CinemaCon is for exhibitors. They're the movie theater owners. They don't.
Yeah, you figured maybe one person would come out and go, "Yeah, it's not as great as you guys."
Well, a few people come out and said, "Yeah, it's it's not the best DC movie. It's not the best comic book hero movie, but it's really good." So there's a little bit of lowered expectations based on some of those reviews, but because there's a lot of hype saying it's one of the best superhero comic book movies of all time. I don't know if it's going to be that. Who knows? I will say they did a really cool, there's some decent, I'm trying to avoid a lot of the marketing, but I did see the Mother's Day marketing trailer they had. That was pretty cool. So,
I feel like I don't put the superhero movies as high a pedestal because I'm immersed in all the other superhero stuff. Like the comic books, the toys, all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of like, oh, this is more the stuff that I always work with.
Right.
So I do kind of like, even in TV, I choose these gritty crime shows over the superhero shows, right? So maybe that's why. But Rob, I really hope it lives up to all this hype for you.
No, for us.
For everyone, for everyone involved. Rob, did you notice the hashtag sell the Snyderverse to Netflix trending at some point? I forgot to bring it up earlier.
Oh, stupid. Who cares? Listen, and that's what I say. I love Man of Steel, right? And I just a couple weeks ago, my son and I, we watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. We watched the full 4 hours.
Yeah,
like
in black and white.
No, we watched the color version. Yeah,
damn,
it was just like
it was brainwashed him something fierce.
What's that?
You brainwashed him something fierce, eh?
No, I like those movies, but it's time to move on. I'm excited to see what's ahead. I'm excited to see what's going to come down the road with Peter Safran and James Gunn. But I'm a Flash fan. I really enjoy the idea of it, and I like the fact that they're going back and dealing with the Flashpoint stuff. I think like one of my favorite episodes, or the favorite episodes of the Flash TV series, which has faltered so significantly. But it was when he went back in time and and he saw his mom and he saw what happened and then when they did it again and you see two Barrys there and and he puts his hand up, he tells the guy, no, stay in the room. Like it just, I love that, whatever the sadness surrounding the whole entire thing, right? And so I'm really excited to see what they do with this property. So I hope it's gonna live. Because for me, I'll give so those are your top three. For my top three, obviously John's me The Flash, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, which is a pretty close second. I will say it's pretty close to Flash, and then Oppenheimer. It will round out my top three most anticipated for the summer. Yeah, Oppenheimer. Sorry, Oppenheimer, not Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer time. It's hammer time. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us and hanging out with us on a random Monday night. It's not random. Monday's happening all the time, John. Every Monday is a new Monday. Monday's all the time, every time.
It typically comes after Sunday, folks.
There you
But
go.
anyways,
Mondays that just pop up out of nowhere.
Open Hammer. Yeah, we don't mention Army Hammer anymore, so maybe we mention Open Hammer now.
Remember when Army Hammer was a member of this crew?
Yeah, it was a crazy time. People getting canceled all over the place. I hope you're not an R&B music fan, because guys are getting like destroyed left, right, and center.
Army Hammer was fan cast in every pick of those movies.
I should go back and edit all the videos and like bleep it out.
Yeah,
like a big X.
Replace it with something saying Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore. Yeah.
Oh man, Pauly Shore's not clean. His hands aren't clean, I don't think either. But anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. Look forward to us making any announcements to any changes and things like that to the schedule. Like Rob said, we have some crazy stuff going on during the summer. So you might see some moving around, you might see some substitutions. So we will post that online as soon as we know. And so yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Let us know what you saw this summer. And then I look forward to talking about all these movies when they come out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Rob, thank you for coming back.
Yeah. one week. So you're welcome.
It's fun. I could probably bust your chops for something for once.
Yeah.
Anyways, peace out, folks. See you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.